If you've saved around $900,000 for retirement, you're in a very specific emotional place. You've done a lot right. You're not starting from scratch, but you're also not sitting on $10 million. So the question isn't just, is this enough? It's, how do I not mess this up? Because here's what changes when you retire. When you were working, your portfolio had one job: grow, compound. That's it. Your job was your savings rate, and the market's job was growth. Time did the heavy lifting. But retirement completely changes the job description of money. Now we expect that same account to continue growing, become safer, but also generate income. And let's make sure we generate that income for an unknown number of years, pay for healthcare, keep up with inflation, and maybe also leave some type of legacy behind. Right now, that's a lot of responsibility for one undifferentiated pool of money. And that's where the anxiety begins. Because when everything is mixed together, every market drop feels like a threat to everything. So instead of one pool doing 5 jobs, we separate the responsibility. That's what structure is. Not complexity, but clarity. Let's walk through a real example of someone who has 900,000 saved. One way to structure that portfolio might look like this: 75,000 in liquid assets, 400,000 in reliable income accounts, and 425,000 in growth-oriented accounts. Now, before we talk about why those numbers make sense, I want you to notice something. Each dollar has a defined job within the portfolio, and once jobs are defined, pressure decreases. Let's start with liquidity. Liquidity is not here to grow. Liquidity is here to protect. For most retirees, liquidity represents about 1 to 2 years of essential expenses. In this example, 75,000 represents roughly 1 year of expenses. Some people prefer 2 years. There's flexibility here, but the purpose is consistent. If the market drops 20% next year, you do not want to sell your growth investments to pay your electric bill. Liquidity absorbs that shock. Now, here's something important that often gets missed. The liquidity bucket is not permanent idle cash. It's a rotating buffer. When markets are strong, we trim gains from growth and refill liquidity back to its target, so the buffer stays alive. It's not static, it's systematic. That's why discipline matters. Because what destroys retirement plans isn't volatility, it's forced selling during volatility. Now, historically, prolonged, uninterrupted downturns lasting more than 24 consecutive months have been very rare, especially in diversified portfolios. Now, markets are volatile, but they also recover. Liquidity simply gives you time, and time is one of the most valuable assets in retirement. Imagine retiring in early 2008. Markets fall hard. If everything is invested, you're selling into that decline. Now your recovery math changes permanently. But if you have 1 to 2 years of spending protected, you're not reacting, you're waiting. And waiting changes outcomes. That's what liquidity does. Now we move to the second bucket. Reliable income is where retirement stability begins. This bucket is designed to generate income regardless of what the market does. It works alongside Social Security, it may complement a pension, or it may involve structured income strategies. The principle is simple: your essential lifestyle should not depend entirely on stock market returns. Now, in practice, we typically see somewhere between 40 to 60% of a retirement portfolio allocated to reliable income structures. Now, you may ask why that range, and that's because it depends on the math. If someone already has strong guaranteed income, they may need closer to 40%. If they want to guarantee most of their lifestyle, they may lean towards 60%. In this example, 400,000 represents about 44% of someone's portfolio, and that's kind of right inside the planning band. That provides meaningful income without eliminating flexibility. Let's make this concrete. Suppose essential expenses are $6,000 per month. Social Security covers $3,000, so there's a $3,000 a month gap. The reliable income bucket is designed to help fill that gap in a predictable way. Now, instead of relying on the market to fund groceries, you've separated responsibility. Income covers living, growth covers the future. That distinction is powerful. Now, let's take a look at growth. Notice something subtle. Growth is the largest bucket, and that's intentional, right? Retirement does not mean you stop investing. It means you stop depending on investing for short-term survival. This 425,000 stays invested for long-term appreciation. It does things like combat inflation. It supports later retirement years. It provides flexibility. It supports legacy goals. Growth works best when it isn't stressed, and it isn't stressed when liquidity and income are already doing their job. Think about how it all works together. Reliable income flows to spending. Liquidity absorbs volatility, and growth replenishes liquidity during strong years. In weak years, growth may not be touched at all. That separation reduces sequence of return risks, which is one of the biggest risks in early retirement. This is why structure matters more than return optimization, because retirement isn't about maximizing upside. It's about reducing fragility. A $900,000 portfolio without structure can feel unstable because everything depends on markets. That same $900,000 with defined roles can feel steady because responsibility is separated. Confidence doesn't come from having more money. Confidence comes from knowing what each dollar is supposed to do. If you saved well, but you've never separated responsibilities inside your portfolio, that's often the missing piece. It's not about higher returns. It's not about more investment complexity. It's about structure. Now, if you'd like to see how this framework could apply to your own plan, or if you just like personalized clarity relative to your situation, you can schedule a conversation using the link in the description. Retirement doesn't have to feel fragile, but it does require intention. We'll see you in the next video.